You are standing outside the towering stone walls of a Roman ludus, about to enter a world where your survival is calculated in cold, hard currency. You did not arrive here by choice. You are likely a prisoner of war captured from Rome's expanding borders, or a criminal condemned to the arena. Or you might be an octoratus, a desperate, debt-ridden free citizen who voluntarily sold your own bodily autonomy to a gladiator manager for a signing bonus. To the lanista, the gladiator owner, you are not a hero, but a high-risk financial asset purchased at a slave market. As you step through the heavy wooden gates, you realize the ludus is not a traditional school, but a heavily guarded, self-contained prison. You are immediately stripped of your civilian clothes, your personal belongings, and even your birth name. You have just entered the legal state of infamia, stripping you of all citizen rights and placing you on the absolute lowest social rung in Rome. You are brought before the lanista, who now possesses the absolute legal right to execute you for disobedience. However, because a dead gladiator represents a massive financial loss, the lanista's primary goal is actually to keep you alive and profitable. You are led to a small altar where you must swear the Sacramentum Gladiatorium, the solemn oath that seals your fate. You repeat the terrifying words, swearing to endure being burned, bound, beaten, and slain by iron. This extreme oath serves a practical purpose. It legally converts you from a human being into a piece of commercial property, ensuring total obedience. To prevent escape and permanently mark you as the school's property, a blacksmith steps forward with a red-hot iron brand. You are branded on your shoulder or thigh, marking you with a permanent identifier that makes blending back into free society nearly impossible. With the legalities complete, you are marched to the medical quarters for your initial physical intake exam. As a new recruit, you undergo a rigorous medical exam where a physician inspects your teeth, bones, and joints to assess your physical potential and financial value. You are then assigned to your cell, a cramped stone room with a straw mattress that you will share with another trainee. As the heavy iron door slams shut and the lock turns, your old life is officially over and your training for the arena begins. At the crack of dawn, the loud clanging of iron bars wakes you from your brief, uneasy sleep. You have no time to rest. A guard immediately orders you out of your cell and into the communal mess hall. Your breakfast is not a feast of meat, but a giant steaming bowl of boiled barley and fava beans. This high-carbohydrate vegetarian diet is designed specifically to pack a thick layer of fat onto your body. This fat is not a sign of neglect. It acts as a natural shield to protect your vital organs and blood vessels from shallow cuts. To wash down this incredibly dry, bland meal, you are given a cup of murky gray liquid. This is a tonic made of water and charred wood ash, which tastes exactly as terrible as it sounds. Despite the taste, this ash drink acts as an ancient sports beverage packed with calcium and magnesium to speed up bone recovery. With breakfast finished, you are marched out to the central courtyard, known as the Palace. Here you are inspected by the lanista, the school's owner, who views you strictly as an expensive piece of livestock. Directing your torture is the doctor, a seasoned former gladiator turned brutal weapons master. You are not allowed to touch real steel yet. Instead, you are handed a heavy wooden sword called a rudis. This wooden weapon is deliberately crafted to be twice as heavy as a real iron gladius. You are ordered to stand before a thick wooden post driven deep into the dirt. You must strike this post thousands of times a day, practicing the exact angles of attack ordered by your trainer. Based on your tall, lean frame, the doctor assigns you to the retiarius class of fighters. This means you must master the specialized art of throwing a weighted net and wielding a three-pronged trident. The physical strain is immense, designed to build perfect muscle memory so you do not freeze in the arena. If your energy flags for even a second, an assistant trainer is ready to correct you with a leather whip. The lanista watches from the shade, calculating how much rent he can charge for your eventual debut. At midday, the grueling physical training finally stops for a brief rest. You head to the washrooms to clean off the thick crust of sweat, dust, and blood. The latrines offer absolutely no privacy, consisting of a long stone bench with holes cut into it. To clean yourself, you must use a shared sponge attached to a wooden stick, which is kept in a bucket of salt water. After a brief moment of recovery, you are marched right back out for afternoon tactical drills. As the sun sets, you are locked back in your dark cell, your body aching and your mind preparing to do it all again tomorrow. Your survival in the arena depends entirely on your specialization, a strategic choice made by your lanista to maximize crowd entertainment and profits. If you are quick and agile, you are trained to fight as a retiarius, equipped with nothing but a net, a trident, and a metal shoulder guard. Your lack of a helmet or shield makes you incredibly light, allowing you to dance around heavier, more encumbered opponents. Your designated rival is the Secutor, a heavily armored class specifically engineered to counter your net throwing tactics. The Secutor's helmet is completely smooth and round so that your net has no edges or protrusions to catch on during a throw. This matchup is a carefully calculated battle of attrition, designed to keep the crowd on the edge of their seats as speed clashes with armor. Once you step onto the sand, your movements are not chaotic. They are strictly governed by a professional referee. Known as the Summa Rudis, this referee can pause the fight at any moment if a weapon breaks or your armor becomes loose. If you attempt to flee or break the rules of combat, the referee will use a whip or a rod to force you back into action. The crowd expects a fair, dramatic display of skill, not a quick and mindless slaughter. This restraint is driven by economics, as killing a gladiator is a massive financial disaster for the game's sponsor. Under Roman law, if you kill an opponent, the sponsor must pay the lanista up to 50 times the original rental fee to replace them. Because of this steep penalty, the referee will often stop the fight the moment one of you yields by raising a single finger. If you survive and win, you return to the barracks, where the commercialization of your physical body truly begins. After a grueling bout, your skin is coated in a thick, valuable paste of sweat, dirt, and olive oil. Instead of bathing, a slave uses a curved metal tool called a strigil to scrape this grime directly off your body. This scraped grease is not discarded. It is carefully collected and bottled in small clay jars. Roman entrepreneurs sell these jars to wealthy women who use your sweat as a luxury face cream. It is highly prized as an aphrodisiac, believed to transfer your physical strength and vitality to the buyer. Your blood is equally valuable, highly sought after by those suffering from epilepsy. Spectators will pay premium prices to drink your warm blood directly from the arena floor to absorb your life force. Even your discarded weapons and armor are sold off to be melted down or kept as protective amulets. Local merchants capitalize on your fame by carving your name and likeness into clay oil lamps and souvenir cups. You have become a highly profitable brand, generating vast wealth for everyone but yourself. The lanista protects this brand by ensuring you receive the best medical care available to keep his asset alive and fighting. As you rest for your next bout, you realize that in Rome, your body is worth far more as a product than as a human being. On the morning of the games, you are woken before dawn to eat the liberatio, a lavish public banquet where fans watch you eat your potential last meal. This meal serves as both a marketing event for wealthy sponsors and a morbid spectator sport for Roman citizens looking to gauge your physical condition. After eating, you are marched straight to the Colosseum's underground holding area, known as the hypogeum. The air down here is a suffocating mix of humidity, the stench of caged wild animals, and the smell of human sweat. Above your head, the wooden arena floor creaks constantly under the weight of 50,000 screaming spectators. To drown out the terrifying noise, you must focus entirely on your armor preparation. Your attendants place your heavy bronze helmet over your head, which severely limits your peripheral vision and cuts your oxygen intake. This design is completely intentional. A restricted field of view forces you to keep turning your head, creating more dramatic movements for the crowd. Your name is called, and you step onto the wooden platform of a manual elevator shaft. As the wooden trapdoor opens, you are thrust from pitch-black darkness into the blinding, scorching Roman sun. The heat is intense, but the smell is worse. The sand beneath your feet is dyed red to mask the blood of those who fought before you. This red sand is also mixed with red ochre to prevent it from clumping when soaked with bodily fluids. You face your opponent, another highly trained gladiator, as the crowd's roar reaches a deafening 90 decibels. In this chaos, verbal communication is impossible. You must rely entirely on the rhythmic clashing of weapons and visual cues. The referee, or summa rudis, stands close by with a long wooden stick to enforce strict rules and prevent illegal moves. Gladiator fights are not chaotic brawls, they are highly regulated, choreographed athletic exhibitions designed for maximum suspense. As the fight progresses, the fat layer from your barley diet serves its purpose, absorbing superficial cuts while protecting your vital organs. But the blistering heat and the weight of your 30-pound armor rapidly drain your stamina. You receive a deep wound to your thigh, and the loss of blood forces you to make a critical decision. You must signal your defeat by raising your left index finger, a gesture known as ad digitum. This signal immediately halts the combat, placing your life in the hands of the editor, the sponsor of the games. The crowd begins to chant, shouting either mite to spare you or jugula to have you executed. The sponsor listens to the crowd, but his decision is ultimately financial. Sparing a trained gladiator means he does not have to pay the school's owner for a dead asset. If the sponsor demands your death, you must kneel, accept the blow to the neck, and die without a single cry. To ensure no one is faking, an official dressed as Kron, the ferryman of the underworld, tests your body with a red-hot iron. If you survive, you are dragged through the gate of death to the medical room, ready to heal and repeat the entire cycle. If you do not survive the medical table, your body is carried to the spoliarium, the dark hidden chamber beneath the arena floor. Here, attendants immediately strip you of your expensive armor. Your owner cannot afford to waste valuable gear on a corpse to ensure absolute certainty of your death. An actor dressed as Kron, the underworld guide, strikes your skull with a heavy wooden mallet. This grim double check prevents desperate fighters from playing dead to escape, a tactic that would ruin the financial and ritual integrity of the games. If you are truly dead, your remains are dumped into a mass grave, unless your gladiator burial club has saved enough dues to purchase you a proper headstone. Statistically, your chances of reaching this dark room increase with every single fight you enter. During the early Empire, however, your survival odds are surprisingly high. Only about 1 in 10 fights ends in a fatality because you are too expensive to replace. But by the 3rd century, economic decline and bloodthirsty crowds push the mortality rate up to 1 in 3 fights. If you defy these mounting odds and survive years of combat, you might finally earn the ultimate prize, the rudis. The rudis is a simple wooden training sword, representing the official end of your mandatory fighting days. Earning it means you are officially manumitted, transitioning from a piece of property back into a free citizen. You cannot simply request this. It requires either a wealthy sponsor paying your owner's massive replacement value or a direct decree from an impressed emperor. Once free, you face a harsh economic reality. Ancient Roman society offers almost no respectable career paths for a socially stigmatized ex-fighter. Many retired gladiators choose the most familiar path and become arena referees, known as the summa rudis. Others are hired back by their former training schools as doctors, elite coaches who teach the next generation how to kill. If you prioritize steady pay over prestige, wealthy Roman politicians will hire you as a high-priced personal bodyguard. Some even choose to sign up again voluntarily as octorati, risking their lives for high wages because they cannot adapt to civilian life. Ultimately, whether you leave the arena with a wooden sword in your hand or on a blood-stained stretcher, your life has been entirely defined by the sand.